Drake May in New England. He played a little bit in his preseason debut, too. Looked okay. The Eagles and Patriots are going to kick off week 2 of the preseason tomorrow night. Yesterday, the teams competed in a joint practice where Jalen Hurts looked good throughout the session. His head coach, meanwhile, Nick Sirianni, enters the season under a great deal of pressure in the eyes of many, including us here. Yesterday, I did a green list of the top 5 coaches who are under the most pressure to win right now, and I put Nick Sirianni in there at number 2, entering his 4th season. And after I did this green list, Andrew Hawkins, our buddy Hawk, jumped in and said, no, Greeny, he should be number 1.
I would actually put Sirianni as number 1, only because when I look at all those all those coaches, Sirianni is one where I feel like he can only point to himself. He has his quarterback. He has a team with a ton of talent. They were great. In the first 11 weeks of last season, they were one of the best teams in the NFL, and yet still they imploded. So all those factors I feel like point to Sirianni at the top, because if it goes bad for him, I feel like we'll know exactly who to point the finger at.
Look, there's been so much noise, right? I mean, there was the teams sometimes fall off a cliff. Very rarely does it look as bad as it looked in Philly last year. It looked like a team that on some level had kind of given up, and that's something we very rarely see. And then they changed the coordinators. And then the story that came out last week from Jeremy and Tim, about all of the dysfunction there and the relationship with him and Jalen, it does feel like Nick Sirianni has a lot of heat on him.
Yeah, he does. He has to manage a bunch of different things, both before they even get down to the practice field or to the game field. And, and once he does get down there, look, all the changes that were made on that coaching staff last year, but do you really think that Nick Sirianni is doing all this on his own? So he's trying to manage that and keep it together and develop relationships, maybe with people that weren't his first choice to be in there in the first place. So when that goes awry, yeah, the spotlight gets put on him, but understand there's a lot more to it than just that. Then you're trying to manage relationships on the field with high-powered, high-profile, highly paid individuals on the field. That sometimes it doesn't always just go the way you think it should go. These guys are not robots. And so what happens in that kind of situation? The wheels can come off. And when they do, I mean, what's the foundation that he can lean on? I mean, where does he fall back on? So I think this year he probably needs to really reset and recalibrate and think, okay, look, Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore. If I'm him, that's where I'm starting. I'm starting with those 2 guys and saying, hey, look, we got to be in this thing together. We got to make sure that we are rock solid in terms of the way we're coaching offense and defense. And he has to make sure his relationship with Jalen Hurts, who obviously is the focal point of this franchise, is as functional as it can be. Because, look, I agree with Hawk. I agree. He's on the hot seat because there are so many other things he has to deal with in Philadelphia besides just coaching a talented football team.
And 2 years ago, they were in the Super Bowl. And last year, to start 10-1 and finish second in your division, and then to get trounced by Baker and Tampa Bay in the playoffs in the wild card round, somebody has to answer for that. And no one had any explanation as to what went wrong. We watched 2 months of a team just disintegrate, and nobody had answers. And Nick Sirianni, week after week, day after day, would say, it's on me to fix. It's on me to fix. Now the fix this offseason, as you said, was get new coordinators. Okay, you assume Kellen Moore and with Vic Fangio, I don't worry about the Eagles, but if anything goes right, Jalen Hurts will be on this team. You don't know about the head coach.
Yeah, that fine line at high-level sports between, achieving and then high-level achieving, meaning Super Bowl achieving, those margins are so thin, and that usually has to do with making sure that the communications and the relationships at the highest level are as functional and as seamless and as healthy as possible. I'm just telling you, he deals with a lot there. There's a lot of things that go on that I'm sure Nick Sirianni has no control over.
Right.
So look, man, it's a tough job, but at the end of the day, the only thing that people care about and the only thing he's going to be judged by is whether or not this team gets back to the Super Bowl and wins. I don't envy him at all. But that comes with the job when you have a team that's as loaded as this team is. And they are loaded.
Mike T, final word.
Yeah, look, it's the play-action passing game. Hembo gave me some great stats. 2 years ago, they were at the top of the league. Last year, they were at the bottom, which is just shocking given what they have. So to me, if they could get back to a solid play-action pass game, which they should with Saquon Barkley, that'll open up a lot of other things. They should win the NFC East.
They may very well have the most talented skill position group in the entire NFL. Listen, you can check